Have you ever had a hankering for some brownies, but don't have the mix in a box? Well, I've come to the rescue. Coming up next on Cooking Made Easy with June on Spanish Fork 17, I'll show you how to make the classic brownie from scratch. You just have to go to Macy's to get all the ingredients. That's coming up next on Cooking Made Easy with June. Hi, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. I love going to Macy's. They have all the basic ingredients and even some of on their Asian aisle, they've got all the stuff that I need because I'm Asian, right? And they're Mexican. Anyway, today I'm going to show you how to make homemade brownies. Now, I still do love on occasion the brownie from the brownie mix that you just buy for like 99 cents or whatever now. But ever since I found this recipe from a cookbook from my mission, I love making fresh brownies because it tastes so much better. So all you do is you just start out, we'll just get right into it. We're just going to start out with the dry ingredients. And for the dry ingredients we have, I'm going to start with the wet ingredients because I had to melt the butter. So here we have a cup of butter and I melted it just in the microwave, or you can, of course, do it in the stovetop. So because I'm going to, when the butter is melted, we want to incorporate the sugar into it. So there's the butter. And next we just have 2 cups of white sugar. Okay, I forget how clangety this set is, so I'm gonna take that off. So we have just 2 cups of white sugar. Now these brownies are a little bit more cake-like, but you can make it gooey by adding more chocolate stuff on it. Oh my gosh, I can't measure. I'm gonna spill it all on my plate. Usually I'll put my sugar in another container. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna use the half cup to be accurate. I'm gonna do 2 half cups because it's kind of big for this little bag. So there we go. I'm gonna do 2 half cups. Oh, actually it's gonna be 4 half cups. 2, 3, and 4. That's 4 cups of white sugar and butter. And then I'm going to whisk it together so that I can incorporate that into the sugar into the butter so it won't be like a gritty brownie. So the butter is still a little bit warm, but you don't have to boil it or anything, the butter, just till it's melted and it'll be warm enough to add the sugar. Okay, next I'm going to crack 4 eggs. Excuse me, do it in a separate bowl. I have my little trash can here. Three eggs. 4 eggs. So it's got lots of eggs. So like a cake-like brownie. So then I have no shells in it. So now I'm going to just go ahead and add that. Brownies is such a classic dessert. You could do so much. You can make a cream cheese topping. You could make, add nuts or no nuts. You can add chocolate chips. This one, in my recipe, I love adding the extra little bit of chocolate chips. So all these fresh ingredients, you just can't wait till you taste one because look at that. It looks amazing. All right, so then I'm going to mix together the dry ingredients, which include a half cup of cocoa. And I'm going to use 2 quarter cups because this is a smaller container. Put that over there. Excuse me. And it doesn't have to be approximate. That's a 4th cup. Sometimes I've also utilized the extra dark cocoa because I love dark chocolate. So that's a good option too. So we have a half cup of cocoa and cocoa powder and a teaspoon. Actually, I'm going to add the vanilla into this. I don't know, I'm going back and forth. So I'm going to add vanilla into this, and let's just do, I can't even read that. I need to start bringing glasses into the show so I could see, oh my gosh, And there's a new bottle. Okay. All right, that's gonna use a knife. There we go. All right, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla in here. And I like extra vanilla, so I'm gonna do another drizzle. So change the recipe. I don't know why I can't just follow a recipe. Not all the time, I just wanna change things at the whim of things because I just love certain thing and I add more of it. So vanilla is one thing you can add more of and it'll be so good. So I add vanilla and then the eggs. Okay, so flour, baking, flour, 1.5 cups of flour. Now I've also snuck in whole wheat flour in here before. It does add a little different texture, but mostly you want to add all white flour so it'll be more fluffy. You could sneak in a 1/2 cup if you would like. So that's 1 cup. And where's my 1/2 cup? Make sure that's my 3rd cup, and there's my 1/2 cup. Okay, so 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, my salt disappeared. That's sugar. Okay, my new containers are awesome, but I'll just grab another salt down here. Half teaspoon of salt, and then I need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Oh my gosh, I didn't have it all out. It's all right, we got this. I love this Food Club brand because they have that little lip that lets you scrape in there. And that's it. So when you guys go to, I'll just use this. When you guys go to let me grab a whisk. When you guys go buy that brownie mix, all you're doing is buying this right here. This sugar, this part with sugar. So I guess it would make it really easy, but that's all you're buying. So you can actually probably make your own brownie mix by doing the dry ingredients and then add the oil or butter and eggs later. So here is what you can do to make the brownie mix. So then you always have a box. So all these ingredients are really in your pantry. So if you don't have a brownie mix, just do it. Okay, so we have that. And then we're just going to add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And I'm going to actually use a wooden spoon to mix that together. It's my favorite part. You're almost folding it because you don't want to spill. And brownies, you don't need to use a mixer because of the consistency or the texture of the brownie that comes after it bakes. You don't need to whip it up. You can just mix it together like this. And to me, cooking is so relaxing. Sometimes when I'm stressed or something, I like to just be doing this, and I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just focusing on making this. I hope the camera's getting this beautiful batter. And you do, sometimes if you don't whisk enough the cocoa powder, you see the little clumps in there, but it'll still be awesome. And then now you add your extra mixings, and these are optional items. Add about a 1/3 cup of chocolate chips, and I added bittersweet because I love that dark chocolate taste. And this is optional, of course, so I forgot to ask if anyone here is allergic to nuts. I don't think so. I'm going to chop some walnuts, about a 1/2 cup. Now you can add too many nuts, so make sure you underestimate. I just somehow doesn't taste as good if you add too many nuts. Because this brownie actually is not that sweet. So, okay, so I need about a half cup of this. So see, that's about a half cup. Now, in the past, you spray, you know, like in your regular recipe, you would spray your pan with another oil, but I've come to love the parchment paper, and I'm going to show you. And it's not that pretty, but it's such easy cleanup. And honestly, you always have the sticky, you always have that sticky part. I mean, you know, the hard crushed on the edges anyways, but this will give you all the edges. So this is not really pretty, but it's awesome. And if you want to serve it, you can always cut the edges off. But I love the look anyways, so. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in here and use a spatula so you have all, so you don't waste any brownie mix. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to do it really quick here and spread it out. So, or you can, so this looks, I know it looks sloppy, but when it's baked and when you put frosting and cut it, it looks perfect. It looks great. Okay. Okay, and you can actually, it moves around so you can actually go like this and stick it like that in the oven. So I'm gonna stick this in the oven on 350, about 25 minutes. You can check it with a fork. And we're gonna take a little break while it's in the oven, and we'll come back and make the frosting, sour cream chocolate. So you don't wanna miss that, so come back. All right, so I have this brownie that's already baked and cooled. As you can tell, as you can see, it's not real pretty like in the pan, but it just comes right out. And so how easy is that? And you don't have that extra oil. So I'm just put that right here for a minute. And I'm going to make the sour cream chocolate frosting. Now, I used to buy the chocolate frosting, and they used to sell chocolate frosting already made, and then sour cream chocolate actually. And that was years ago when I was loving I love that sour cream chocolate, but they don't sell it anymore. Honestly, if you know where you can find some sour cream chocolate frosting, let me know, but I cannot find it anywhere. So I started to make my own. And so all I do is start out with butter, yummy, yummy butter. Now I've never really, I usually always buy the salted butter. I don't know, I just do, it's a habit. But I think unsalted would be good too, but I always buy this unsalted. The salted butter. So we just turn it on medium high, and it heats up really, melts really fast. So I'm just going to melt the butter like that. And now a frosting, there's different kinds of things. There's ganache, which is, again, it's primarily just butter and chocolate chips. But because all that vanilla is already in the chocolate chips. So this is kind of like a ganache, but I added, but it's not a ganache because I'm going to add powdered sugar, which makes that frosting consistency. So I'm going to splatter my butter on me. So I'm going to let that butter melt till nearly melted. And then I'm going to add chocolate chips, which is approximately a third cup. So I'm just going to guess. I know, I'm so horrible. That might have been almost a little bit more than a third, but it'll be good. And so as you notice, how that melts really quickly also. Okay, so the butter, I put it in while it's almost melted because then it'll continue to melt as the chocolate chip melts. So I love this part of making frosting. I'm not a great baker, and what I mean is I love to bake and I love making dessert. However, I get so impatient about the look of it. Like if it has too many steps, it drives me crazy. So I like the mixing kind. So, okay, so you see how the chocolate chips have melted really quickly. I have that on high, but I'm gonna turn back down to medium. And then we're just going to add the powdered sugar. Well, actually, I'm going to add the sour cream, and which I had forgotten. I didn't get sour cream, so I used this yogurt, Greek yogurt, and also your vanilla. Now, the reason why I like to add the liquid ingredients first, because when you want the right consistency, you want to add the liquid, so that way you don't have, if you put too much powdered sugar first and then you have to add the liquid still, it changes everything. So I like to do the liquid part of the frosting first, like the wet part of the frosting. Let me grab a whisk so I can get the sour cream in there. Okay, so I'm just going to whisk that together. To get all the sour cream or yogurt in there, that tangy flavor, that tangy chocolatey, oh my goodness, it's so yummy. Okay, so see how it's pretty much incorporated. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add my flour, I'll put this over here, powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is so messy at times. It's almost like working with glitter. I don't know if you heard where, like, I've seen when my daughter was getting there, looking at venues, and we ended up having it in our backyard anyways, but a lot of places were like, no glitter, because glitter is forever. It's so true. When you start using glitter somewhere, it just shows up in your face and your nose or a tiny bit and you just see it. So I'm going to do 3 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, and just whisk that together. You can see how it's getting there. It seems like a lot, but there you go. Yeah. So here you have that yummy. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stove. You see how that beautiful frosting in there? It's kind of a good workout for your arms. Love it. Oh, look at that. So yummy. Now the brownie has been cooled, so I actually am going to go ahead and frost it. You frost the cool, and now I've also frosted the brownie when it's a little bit warm, and then you let it sit and it just goes into the brownie. It's so good. So you could do it this way also. I don't know if I'm going to use all of this though, because I don't really want, and you can save more frosting for later, or if you're really a chocolate lover, I probably use 2/3 of it. Let me spread it out and see how that goes. This is the nice part about this parchment paper. It's going to spread. Maybe I'll go ahead and pour all of it in there. So that way we can have really chocolatey brownies. Usually I like to just do a thin layer of chocolate frosting, but why not? And you can refreeze your frosting and use it for another batch of brownies. So in reality, you could half the recipe or make the full recipe and save some for later. So here you have, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to frost it that way, and then so that spreads it lengthwise, and then you frost it this way. I wish you guys were here again to smell the chocolate. Oh, you know, I love it. One of the things I love about Disneyland is when I walk downtown Disney or wherever, I smell all the baked goods, all the chocolate smells. I think what I'm going to do to top it off is I'm going to actually go ahead and chop up a few more little nuts here and sprinkle it on top. Why not? Let's do that. Just a little bit. Okay, so when I'm gonna brag, it's almost there, Okay, let's just put a little bit of nuts on top like that while it's warm. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in the fridge and let it set for just a few minutes. I would say maybe 10 minutes, or if you want it to go faster, you can put it in the freezer. Okay, so we're gonna take a little break. When we come back, we're going to cut it and plate it and taste it with a glass of milk or almond milk. So come back. All right, welcome back, guys. I was just thinking when I took this out of the pan, I'm like, this looks like a piece of fudge. But the frosting is almost like that. So let's see, let's go ahead and cut it. I like to make some good sized pieces here. What do you think? And so I'm going to score it a little bit into the top, and then I'm going to do the cut. There we go. And then we're going to cut it this way. And let's go ahead and put some, let's put some pretty pieces on the plate, not the end. Look at that, oh my gosh, yum. How'd you like to, it looks like you can make something that looks like you bought it at a bakery. I'm going to cut another middle piece for the picture. Actually, this one piece is so looking really good. I'm gonna put one more piece on top. Right there, and then let's put a little bit more nuts just to make it look even yummier. I love nuts. Now, if you don't like nuts, of course, you can have no nuts. And there's a glass of milk, and let's put another piece on the plate. I'm gonna cut the edge out like that and put it on here. Okay, you guys, look at that. Oh my gosh, is that not beautiful? So there you go. Look at how the gooey, I'm going to cut a little corner here for me to try. I want to show you a gooey piece. I don't know if you can see on camera, I don't know where to put it, where it's, look at that. It's cake-like, but it's got like a little fudge sour cream frosting. This is so worth it, you guys. I forget, I haven't made these in a long time actually. It's like melts in my mouth. It's amazing. I'm not just saying that. Best brownies ever, hands down. You guys have to try this. You can also try doing the cream cheese with a little egg, sugar, and put it on top and then bake it. You can have cream cheese brownies, so you can do so much with this recipe. So excited. You guys go to Macy's. Well, you might need to go right now. You probably have all these ingredients in your cupboard and in your fridge. But if you don't, go to Macy's and you can make your own fresh, delicious brownies. And sour cream frosting, chocolate sour cream. So, happy cooking. Until next time, come back to Cooking Made Easy with June. Thank you for coming.